How do you define success, and what does being successful mean to you?
I'd be lying if I didn't say winning is how I would define it. But winning, I feel like, is being successful. And it might not be the right thing, but it's how I feel like for myself.
All right, I'm here with Nick Lucena. Nick, thank you so much for being here, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Nick the Quick, Nick the Greyhound, Tricky Nicky. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, Tricky Nicky. But, and yeah, I used to be Nick the Quick from the Greyhound.
Yeah.
That might be over. I'm a little older now, so.
All right, Nick, you went to Florida State. You had a sports management degree. You have 14 wins on the AVP, 9 wins on the World Tour. You're an Olympian with Phil Dalhausser, and you're going for your next Olympics after this coronavirus thing. You're a husband. You're a father. Your IG is at NJ Lucena. Nick Lucena, welcome. Thanks again for being here. I'm going to get right into the first question.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What does living an inspired life mean to you?
Living an inspired life mean to me? Dang. Well, I guess, believing in what I'm doing as far as justifying being away from my family when we travel and being able to provide for my family and just loving what I'm doing, which is, I've been able to play volleyball for a lot of years and really haven't had to work outside of that, which I'm very fortunate.
That's awesome.
So appreciating that, what I'm doing, and hopefully doing it the right way.
I love that, Nick. That's beautiful. So part of this project, this is about the tools that youth athletes can use to find that inspiration. And I was thinking about you before this interview and just watching you over the years and being a fan. I come up with a word for each guest that I have. And my word for you is tenacious.
I'll take that. I mean, I'm not proud of a lot of moments that I've had in the past, but yeah, the tenacity is something.
Yeah. You always just seem like you're just in the finals. You're just always there. You're always fighting, and to me that inspires me, especially as being another short player out there. But obviously the quickness is part of your game, but that tenacity to me is extremely inspiring. Can you just expand on that? Where does that come from a little bit?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and that's good quality to be associated with. I guess I could say that I grew up with a big family and 2 older brothers and a younger brother and younger sister, and we were really competitive. And you just start at a young age of not wanting to lose or not wanting to, you wanted to be in the forefront. So
right.
Maybe it started there. Volleyball, like I said, was never a plan for me, and I picked it up pretty late. And I really just enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed trying to be good or trying to perfect, volleyball. And so I always felt like I had something to prove because I never came from it. Or, a lot of the saying was California was where most of the volleyball players came from, and I was an outsider from Florida, so. I don't know. For some reason, I always saw myself as an underdog.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where it comes from.
That makes sense. I mean, I feel like a lot of athletes, myself included, that word or that phrase, something to prove. Can you just expand on that a little bit? Like, I think I know what you mean by that, but just what does that mean to you?
It's probably made up. It's probably in my head. Like I have something to prove to these imaginary people but it's maybe it's something to prove to myself that I can. I never thought I'd play on the AVP, let alone win a tournament, let alone play on the World Tour and whatnot. So, maybe deep down inside, it's wanting to prove to myself that I can do it.
Cool.
Or the people that said I couldn't. Not that there's one instance where, someone said you can't do it, but
Right, right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I feel like a lot of athletes, go through that thought process of, man, I'm going to show you, and sometimes that works for us and it drives us, So,
Yeah.
I like that. This is a weird time too right now, Nick, with the whole coronavirus. So, answer this however you want, but how do you stay inspired outside of the game?
That's tough. I was just talking to my wife about it today, because we have a gym in our house, and I'm still lifting and stuff. And I had a strength coach that I was able to work with before this all happened, and now I'm back to lifting on my own. It's hard to get inspired, um, especially when you don't know if there's going to be a season or an Olympics and whatnot. So it's more, I see it as a job, and it's part of my job. It doesn't sound like it's a job, because lifting is not really something that people can say they call work, but it's what I have to do to kind of stay ready for whenever this does, the coronavirus and stuff settles down, and maybe we are able to play. So I use a couple tools. Music is always a big inspiration for me.
Cool.
So I make sure I'll have some loud music going on to kind of get me fired up. And I'm even diving into some energy drinks just to get that little spark going. But once I get into it, you kind of get back into a groove to where, all right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Get it done. And then you feel so much better about yourself once, my job right now is just to lift and prepare, because we can't really practice.
Right.
And whatnot. So
it's
a hard thing to do, to be inspired, especially in this time. So
totally. You mentioned stay ready. That's kind of a phrase, another phrase that athletes are kind of used to hearing, but just build on that a little bit. Like, what exactly does that mean mentally? Staying ready up here? Because it's one thing to go in the gym, but up here.
Mentally, it's been a nice little break we've had away from volleyball, or I've had away from volleyball. So you kind of get that itch to start playing again. And we had a little taste because we were able to play one event before all this happened. So, we mentally, I think I'm an older athlete, so it's easier to kind of get ready. I have that experience to go off of and whatnot. But we're watching video once a week of all the top teams on the world tour, and some matches of us. So that kind of helps staying ready.
Yeah,
it is hard. A priority right now is your family first, and then health, and trying to just survive what's going on. So, but I've been doing it for so long that it's kind of there in the back of my mind, just being ready.
For sure. That absolutely makes sense. How about visualization? Do you use that even outside of the game, or maybe away from video? Are you seeing yourself make plays? Are you seeing the opponent? Are you seeing the game?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe at tournaments before we play, we have a little routine where we'll watch whoever we're playing on video and kind of do our scouting. And then we'll have 10 minutes to I'll take 10 minutes to either meditate or do some visualization then. But
cool.
Right now, no. It's the furthest thing from my mind. I'll watch a lot of games on YouTube or whatnot, just because I enjoy the game, and maybe that helps out. But now it's just like a waiting period, a holding period.
For sure. Yeah,
just
for sure.
Physically, your body ready.
And let's just stay on that for a second, because again, another part of the inspiration that you've given me over these years is you've stayed in phenomenal shape. How do you do that? I know you have a lifting regimen, and probably nutrition is probably a part of that. Can you offer any other tools that allow you to stay in great shape?
It's something new that I've tried to add maybe the last year or two, especially being an older athlete. I'm 40, but I have to I've just had great strength coaches over the years, and I don't mind putting in the work. I actually enjoy being in the gym. It's a fun part of what I do. So it's easy. That part's easy because, I enjoy it. But, I have strength coaches that tell me what to do, and I do it. So I got to give my hats off to them, and and I think that's helped me play this long for sure. Without it, there's no way I'd still be playing.
Right. That's awesome. Let's shift a little bit to practice. And I know we haven't practiced in a while, but just put yourself back into when you are in the middle of practice for this question. So what does having an inspired practice mean to you?
Well, I'm a competitive person, and so an inspired practice would be achieving everything like we've planned to do for that practice at a high level. We're pretty good at doing things, I would say, crisply and just getting it done. We're not the most inspiring people as far as Phil has not the highest energy, and we're both. I used to be really energetic. We'll kind of feed off each other, and sometimes I take a back seat to that. But I think we do a good job when we are practicing. We get our job done, and we get out.
Okay. And yeah.
So to me, that would be an inspired practice.
Okay. Let's talk about the flip side of that. What about an uninspired practice? What does that feel like? And
yeah, it's an uninspired practice. We've had those too. It's we got to drive 4 hours each way to kind of practice. So usually we'll go for a week at a time, or 4 days at a time.
Wait,
so
hold on.
Live in Orlando. I live in Tallahassee, so it's 4 hour drive.
4 hours each way?
Yeah, each way.
Woo.
So actually, the last 2 years, there was very little practice. But this year we made a commitment because, Olympic run, that we were going to do it. And we had a great training session with Nicolai and Lupo from Italy. But an uninspired practice is, Phil coming up here or me going down there, and maybe, one of us isn't into it, and we're kind of you can tell, and it's kind of wasting each other's time. And it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does, and it's more like, hey, let's, we're both investing our time to get stuff done. Let's make sure we get it done right. But it's hard to be motivated sometimes, so I understand that happening.
Yeah. Can you offer any tools in that moment? I know it's tough. It's tough for all of us as athletes and coaches, but like, what can you offer for that moment of you're like, oh man, I'm going through the motions.
It's frustrating. Because you're having this dialogue in your head, like whatever, say it's me not wanting to be there, and or I'm struggling with, passing or getting the drills done. So what I've learned is being upfront with Jason, our coach, and Phil. And so maybe if I start to notice it in the beginning of practice or before practice, I kind of let them know, like, hey, I'm not, whatever, I could have something else on my mind, like this is going on. I'm going to need a little help getting through this practice. If you see me,
I like that.
Just know that it's not my intentions. I'm battling mentally as well as physically. So I learned having an open communication with the coach and, your teammate helps go a long way.
That's huge.
Because then maybe they can carry me a little bit, and then I can kind of feed off them some.
Awesome.
But other than that, man, yeah, it's tough to do, and just remind yourself that it's just one practice or 1 week, and it's you got to take each day as a new challenge.
Sure. Shout out real quick to your coach, Jason Lockhead, right?
Yeah, Jason Lockhead, the Ginger Ninja.
Yeah.
So, he's a good guy, great coach. He was a great player, and we're fortunate to have him with us.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a great player, inspiring to watch as another small out there.
Yeah, small as they come. Like, I'm a shorter athlete, but he got it done side and out at the highest level. And so it's a good dude.
Totally. All right. So let's talk about an inspired game. I've watched you have a couple of those actually. So talk to me about that. What does that feel like?
Well, I mean, winning is always main goal. So anytime we win, I feel like that's an inspired game. And but yeah, I'm not. It's kind of hard playing so long. You kind of have to dig, because you get into that same routine. Like it's another tournament, especially maybe the last couple of years. Playing with Phil, you're expected to win. You're playing with one of the best players of all time. So, inspired to me is, I'm going to see some serves. I better be ready to battle. Got a side out, and if I play well, my intentions is always to play at a high level, but it's hard to do.
For sure.
So just as long as I'm not giving up or quitting on a game, which it hasn't happened often, but I don't know, that stuff. I try to play inspire, or my competitiveness, I guess. Maybe I'm confusing the two in being inspired and the wanting to win.
Yeah, no, I got you. I know it's a tough word, like that word of inspired, right? And that's why I'm digging into it a little bit, because it's something that the youth athlete, I feel like it's important for them to try to find that feeling, because it feels good. It feels good when you're in that moment and you're flowing and you're feeling like that's where you're supposed to be,
Yeah, for sure. When you have that moment where things are going your way, it's definitely a good feeling. But that doesn't happen a lot, especially now on the world tour. And it's so tough. Even on the AVP, it's you're in a battle, and there's moments in every game, every match where, dang, things aren't going our way. So it's hard to. It's more being prepared for those moments than, very rarely are there's things like, yeah, this is awesome. This is where I'm supposed to be. Or I've tried to learn to be uncomfortable and be inspired by being uncomfortable and having a battle through every game.
That's huge.
Maybe that is something that's kind of helped me over the years.
Yeah, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. Just to stay on that for a minute, let's say you're in the middle of a match and things are not going well and you are uninspired in the middle of a match. What do you do to try to snap out of that quickly?
It depends, because we've had tournaments where things are, not going our way, or maybe Phil is, sorry, we got a dog.
No problem.
Come on, man, get your dogs under control. I'm on a Zoom meeting. I work too. Oh, man, this is work for me. All right. Sorry, Aaron.
No worries.
No, it's all right. When you're on your call working, I'm going to make sure to talk to you. I'll talk to you later, Brett. Huh? All right, sweet. All right.
Don't worry, we're just live to millions of people right now.
Yeah,
that's all good.
People listening right now. Sorry, but like
it's all good.
Things, don't go our way a lot, or I'm a little fiery person, and Phil is the opposite of that. And sometimes I want someone. Either way, I try to just simplify it to whatever the next play. Next pass. Even more easier than that. It's like keep my arms apart if I'm struggling, or if I'm not. Usually when I'm struggling offensively, I'm not feeling it. It's my passing's off. So as long as I can hone in on my passing, and things will slowly start to get back. But you know what? There's a lot of good teams, and signing out is getting harder and harder. So
yeah, totally.
So I guess I'm trying to look too far into the future, or the points, whether we're behind and whatnot, and try and simplify it.
Sure. At
a time. Easier to say than to do. I'm just trying to think of moments when I've struggled, and I kind of just rely on an next player, or Phil helps me out a lot, and he does a good job of noticing sometimes when I'm struggling, and he's done a better job of picking it up, his energy, and he makes plays. So it's really
Right.
awesome to play with a player like that can help you out a lot when that happens.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you guys are really good friends too. I'm sure that helps with the pressure, because you mentioned the pressure of playing, with one of the best players of all time.
Yeah, I mean it's not so much. Yeah, it's pressure, but it's something I gotten used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more so like you're expected to win or have a great finish playing with Phil.
Speaking of Phil, and shout out to Phil, Phil Dalhausser. There was what tournament was that? I want to say it was, I can't remember it exactly right now, but I watched you watch him serve, I think 5 aces in a row. And I think it was this past season.
Oh, yeah, that was Jake and
Yeah,
Taylor.
yeah, yeah.
Not only that, it were float serves.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because he's been known for his jump serving most of his career.
Right.
Yeah, he got 5 aces in a row float serving to get us a big lead in the second. We had lost
And
the first.
where was that again?
In New York.
New York, that's right.
Yeah.
And what's going on in your mind when you're watching, your teammate excel and be awesome like that?
I mean, it's I've seen him do so many great things. And he does something. It doesn't happen often. Someone getting 5 float serves.
I
And
know.
it was a windy tournament, but in my head, at first I'm like, all right, sweet. My side out game is going to be a little easier in the second. We got a little bit of a lead. I can not relax, but just know that I can get away with them making a couple plays if it happens. So,
Cool.
and that's the great thing about playing with a point scorer like Phil is, you're always in it. You're always in every game, no matter how down you are.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool, man.
I've seen him do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ridiculous things.
Right. Well, let's carry that over to mindset. Let's talk about mindset a little bit. So can you give us a little glimpse of your mindset pre-game, during the game, post-training sessions and games? Like just a glimpse of like what are some of the self-talk that you might have, or some of the thinking that you might have?
Yeah. I mean, every game, any game we played, I always anxious. Like I have a lot of anxiety built up. Anxiousness, like for the game, how I'm going to perform, and if I let it get away from me, it can be overwhelming. For sure. And so usually, like there's a whole ball of anxiety during every tournament we play, and it's more of a relief when it's done, whether we win or lose. And that's something that when I first started playing, I wouldn't, couldn't sleep for the life of me because I'd always be thinking of the match. And it's something I've learned to be better at. But, my mindset is going over any video we did against the team. So it's a scouting. And then it's just relying on what I've done, what we practice. The more we practice, or the more we've lifted, then I'm more prepared.
Yeah.
But, my mindset is always like, all right, I'm ready to get after it.
Cool.
Ready to get the serves. Be prepared for doing some work.
Awesome. Can you just give us so self-talk, like let's say like you're getting ready to serve receive, are you thinking about you mentioned passing, are you thinking about the actual like, okay, I'm telling my arms to go out, or is it more like confidence building, I got this? Just what does that self-talk kind of look like for you?
I mean, like before I'm receiving a serve, nothing's going through my head really, and that's
Cool.
where I feel like I'm playing well. My self-talk will usually happen if I get stopped. Okay, this is what they did. They dove angle on me,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe I got served to the line. And I didn't pass it well. I'm judging. Sorry, man, that might be.
That's all right.
Might be my thing.
No worries.
But my self-talk is usually critiquing the play that I did before, and whether to adjust, how to adjust, and whatnot. But usually, I'll critique it really quick and then try to analyze what I should do better or what's working, and then it's usually just let the moment happen and let my body kind of do what it's been doing for so long.
Cool. Yeah. And what about stoppage time? You know, in our sport, like there's so much stoppage time. I think I did a stopwatch one time on a match. I mean, it's more than 10 minutes per.
It could be slow for sure.
Yeah. So like,
FIVB, they try and do that 7 seconds in between plays.
yeah.
So they speed it up some.
That's on the world tour, right?
What's that?
On the world tour, you mean?
On the world tour, yeah. So,
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's tough because especially if you're, I mean, for me, I want to play fast. Like if we're scoring points, hey, let's get this going. Let's score more points. Or if we're down and we're losing, it's like, all right, let's get this going. Let's get these points back. So I like speeding up the game. And so it is a slower sport that can be drawn out some.
Yeah.
Especially with this, I'm not a big fan of the, what does the AVP do? The freeze scoring.
The freeze, yeah.
Because there's some things that I think can be exciting about it, but I mean the early rounds are up, 20 to, it just slows the game up for me, and it's something that I don't deal well with.
Yeah, it's heady for sure. I've been on both sides of that freeze.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to the youth athlete who might be watching right now and is trying to figure out how to deal with that stoppage time? Because for me, I think it's important to utilize that stoppage time for your advantage, whether it's setting up the next play, maybe a quick reflection of the last play, or like you said, just thinking about nothing. Those are all good things, but can you just expand on that like a little bit?
Just, I mean, it's almost like getting into a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Of what you do. Like you said, you analyze what just happened, try not to dwell on it, because that's when I think your mind can spin. Like if you make a mistake or, you shank a pass or a couple passes or even your teammate makes a mistake. It's kind of like get into that routine where, okay, I analyze, this is what happened, accept it, make any adjustment that you had. And then kind of, the more I think you practice something and if it's working, then the more you want to kind of stay in that same mode.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, that's the only thing I can think of. But like I said, I like to play fast. I like things to happen at a faster speed for me.
Cool.
It's a tough thing to figure out. But there's no right or wrong answer. I think just kind of figure out what works for the individual.
For sure.
And then when you realize it works, kind of just repeat it.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. Let's move into emotion, Nick. Emotions are a big part of all sports, but it's how we contain the emotion that I think is really important. That's something I want to ask you about. What are the differences and similarities in emotion from both an inspired practice and an inspired game?
I don't. So you're saying how you go into a game emotionally during a match versus practice, or?
Yeah, because we like, I guess to expand on that a little bit, it's like the emotions of a game. There's so much more going on. You got the scoreboard. There's the you can win or you could lose, right?
Yeah, it's real.
It's real.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Practice kind of builds up for the game, and I definitely think you need to treat practice like that's why I think that's one of the things that's helped me so much is I want to win every practice.
That's awesome.
But that's something that, some of the partners that I've had, they don't care. They just want to kind of work on their own things.
Right.
And so it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing because, when I think of emotions, I'm an emotional player. Like I expect a lot of things out of the partners that I've played with, and whether that's right or wrong, I've definitely been on the wrong on a lot of those things. But I've always wanted to win every practice, and then it makes the games easier, I guess. But yeah, there is a difference because there's something on the line in an actual match or a tournament.
Right.
Absolutely. So, and I think that's where that anxiousness kind of happens. But I feel that I've always been competitive, and like I said, anything, and so that's kind of helped me deal with the management of the emotions in the game. I'm not saying I'm perfect. There's a lot of terrible things that I do in a match that kind of drives Phil or
Like
any of
what?
my partners. What, like the same thing, like I said, I expect them to be a certain way or do a certain thing, and it doesn't happen the way my brain kind of imagined it, and I let them know. And that's not the right thing to do, but sometimes I can't control the emotions, especially earlier in my career. But sometimes that's helped to my advantage. Like I've been able, like whatever, to use that anger or something to my advantage. But it backfires sometimes as well.
Yeah, the emotional management part of this is a huge part of this whole picture, and I think I've been a recurring theme for me with this project is to try to delve into that with athletes like yourself, Olympians, who have been through all the different kinds of emotions through any kind of match or a season, or an injury, like the emotions are real. So the management part of this is definitely a big picture.
It's hard to manage. It really is. Like even like you said, injuries. Like that's something the last 2-3 years that I've had to deal with. You're not used to your body just failing, and that's the hardest thing to deal with. And I've gotten into some meditation and stuff over the past 2 years, and it kind of helps. It doesn't solve everything, and it's hard to practice, but I think just being aware of the emotions that pop up, and just kind of notice, hey, this is what's happening. Anger is happening, or rage, and just let it run its course, and kind of know that it's natural. And,
cool.
It'll pass.
Cool. I love that. The awareness, that seems to be a recurring theme that a lot of high level. What's that?
It's hard to do.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, easy for it's hard to be aware of, especially when even parenting. Like the kids aren't listening, and it's like, but I'm getting better. Like I don't mean to cut you off there, but yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Awareness thing is hard to do, and I'm still trying to get better at it.
Yeah, no, that awareness though, I really like that idea behind that, because everything change starts with awareness, so for me, it's like you said, that the tool of meditation, I've been trying that myself lately. It's difficult for people, like I feel like, who are really active, to just like chill and like not do anything. But what I've noticed is that it does help me with my awareness level goes up a little bit when I slow down like that.
For sure.
Is that happen for you too?
Sure. Yeah. And and the more I practice it, the better I get at it. It's just like you said, it's hard to slow down and kind of put that time aside to be like, all right, it's time to not think about anything. Kind of, it's not an easy thing to do.
What can I ask you? When do you practice? Is it in the morning or
Mornings.
is it mornings?
Yeah, mornings. I've got a good little routine that I do. I've been practicing. I'm on like 133 days straight of this Wim Hoff breathing. And
Wim Hoff! Shout out, Wim Hoff.
Yeah. So it worked out that it's supposed to build your immune system. So I started late December, and I'm like, I can't not stop doing this, especially with the coronavirus going on.
Right.
One thing I set 15 minutes to do, and I kind of just listen to a couple guys I listen to while I'm doing the breathing. So that's kind of my time. And then,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you done the ice baths as well?
Yeah, I go. So we have a infrared sauna. So it'll be my breathing into the sauna, into the cold shower. I don't have the ice. I wish I had like a little ice tub that was permanently cold. But I'm all about the ice baths, and there's something to it.
Yeah, for sure there is. I'm so glad you mentioned Wim Hoff. He's been one of my mentors, and I'm going to leave a link actually on this for anyone who doesn't know about Wim Hoff. They should go study his stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's something to it, and my plan is to keep moving forward with that practice and see where it goes.
Cool. Awesome. Let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about flow. So let's go back to practices and games and stuff. And I want to know from you, can you identify when you are in the game, in the flow or in the zone?
Yeah, no, there's definitely, for sure, I can identify when I'm feeling things are just working. And it's kind of like I said, I'm trying to predict how each play is going to happen. And when that's going, then yeah, I'm in the flow. I had a match like that in our last tournament where I'm like, I'm okay. Things are working. My vision's good. My passing's good. And usually that's kind of vision is hand in hand when I'm feeling.
Like you see everything.
Yeah. For some reason. I don't know why it decides to happen in certain games. But most of the time it's a battle every game, and every point I'm like side out, and in my head I'm like, how the heck did I side out? How did I catch that? I mean, that was a guess, like a lucky guess. But more of like an educated guess.
Right.
But, if that answers the question.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you find yourself in that flow often, or is it really rare?
No.
Rare?
No. It's, I mean, maybe a couple times a tournament.
A couple times a tournament?
Yeah, maybe. So, but usually, no, it's a battle. And the same deal, like, there's a flow when you're feeling it, and there's certainly the opposite of that when you're struggling. So it's probably a couple times with that too, a tournament.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm asking that question is because the inspired feeling and being in the flow for me are different, right? Because you can be inspired, but you're not necessarily in the flow. But when you find yourself in the flow or in the zone or locked in, those are all terms that we use as athletes. Yeah. It's kind of an incredible feeling. It's just like, whoa, it's like almost the game slows down a little bit for you. And like you said, you can see everything. You can kind of see it happen before it happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely, like when it does happen, my confidence goes up. But I don't really, not really thinking about it. It's just happening.
Just happens.
And it's not till after the match where I'm like, wow, that's, I had a little confidence in that match. Or something was different about that match than before. And you can say you're in the zone or whatnot. But usually while you're in it, it's kind of just like, I recognize that I'm in it, but then, yeah, nothing's going on in that brain of mine.
Cool. And here's a big question. Can you practice it? Can you practice being in the flow, or does it just come? And when it comes, okay, let me ask you two questions, and then we'll go from there. Not only can you practice it, but when it does come, let's say you're in practice and you're finding yourself in that flow.
Yeah.
Can you bank that feeling for later in the game?
I don't think it's. I don't know. Okay. I have found a way to be able to harness that. If I did, it'd be awesome.
Right.
So it's almost like, you're striving for that feeling and that high level of play. And when it happens, you just appreciate it. And it doesn't happen, all the time. And I wish it did. And that's just for me. Maybe some other players comes easier for them and they feel it more often.
Yeah, it reminds me of something that Cart said when I recently interviewed him. I asked him this.
I'm curious to see if he thought he was in the flow of most of his career.
Yeah, he actually said that it was very rare. He could probably count on two hands his whole career when he was in that zone. And I was like, well, what are you doing most of the time then? He's like, well, I'm actually just making adjustments most of the time.
Yeah.
And does
that resonate? And I said it happens a couple times a tournament. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if it's the same flow we're talking about, then I haven't experienced it yet. If Cart hasn't experienced it twice or a handful of times.
That's funny. Well, everyone's different. That's why it's a good question.
Well, I mean, his that's the thing. It's like you strive for perfection. And
yeah. But I really – oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying he was probably one of the best the best player of all time. And
Right.
at such a high level.
Right. But that really stuck with me. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm not really worried about the flow so much. I'm actually just constantly adjusting. He called it a puzzle. He's like, it's like a puzzle. I'm just trying to figure out what goes where and what the other team is doing. And that stuck with me a lot. That was good.
Yeah. That's what you're doing after every play is just making these, what happened, you analyze it and then figure out if you got to switch it or don't.
Right. Awesome. Let's move on. Let's talk about sources, Nick. Where do you get inspiration from? And it could be anywhere, however you want to answer that.
When it comes to volleyball, other players.
Cool.
Especially now. Before, I was always, when I first started, Todd was a big inspiration for me, and I tried to do everything I could to surround myself. Like, I moved to Santa Barbara, I ended up training with him and his trainer, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to surround myself with this guy and kind of see what he does and whatnot. And then now it's all these younger players that are ridiculously good. Taylor is one of them. He's definitely you got to look at those players because they're, I think, at the top of the game. And so, it's like, all right, you see what he's doing and kind of fires me up to be like one of those players, like a Taylor. Christian Sorum is, there's a ton of players that I think are great. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Shout out Todd Rogers, the professor. He's amazing. Shout out to Taylor Crabb. He's incredible.
Yeah, two completely different players, but both, I think, great players.
Yeah,
Taylor's fun to watch.
Totally.
Todd was a perfectionist. Like, he was really good.
Totally, and he's very cerebral. Like, I had him on as well, and just picking his brain was just awesome. Just to stay on that for a second, I kind of want to know from the World Tour perspective too, like, or the AVP, but when you're watching these players, are you watching them and like getting general inspiration from them? Like, oh my God, like, that player's really good. Or are you actually studying and like breaking down the mechanics?
No, I'm both. So
both.
Yeah, you're watching what they do defensively, siding out wise, but then you're also like, all right, this kid's really good. Makes me want to be, just as good, if not, I'm always trying to be better, like I said. But for sure, you're taking away the things that they do well and using that tool for yourself.
And I'm assuming you would recommend that to the youth athlete, starting that early, right? Like,
yeah, 100%. Find someone that relates. It's like, sure, Phil does awesome things, and I think what he does is great. Does it relate to me?
Right.
So it's like, pick a player or pick someone that, you can relate to and see what they do well. One thing, I started watching some Stein Metzger videos this offseason because I just thought, besides being a great player, he was just like an awesome partner.
Totally.
Pumping up his partner, and I thought he got the best out of his partners. John Hyden is another person that does that. So, I was like, man, I got to be a better partner for Phil. How can I do that? Because we have a routine we get to when we're playing a game, but sometimes it doesn't work. So I was looking at the Stein videos, and I was like, he's just little things like that just always trying to better yourself. And so I use my peers and the people that I compete against.
That's awesome. Shout out Stein Metzger. Shout out John Hayden. Both class acts. Both amazing careers.
Pain in the ass to play against Stein. I've gotten to do it a couple times, but I'm a big fan of Stein.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. That's the main part of the interview. So let's move to the lightning round.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just giving you like little short answers.
Yeah. Again, answer these however you want.
Okay.
But they're supposed to, I'm encouraging a short answer, but if you want to, if you have a story or whatever.
I feel like all my answers have been short, so.
You're doing great, bro. This is awesome.
Yeah.
How do you define success, and what does being successful mean to you?
I'd be lying if I didn't say winning is how I would define it. But yeah, winning, I feel like is being successful, and it might not be the right thing, but it's how I feel like for myself. When we win, it's like did what I was supposed to do, and
Cool.
but it's hard to do. It's hard to win.
Yeah. Cool. How do you consider the idea of failure?
I learned to accept it. Wasn't easy, but I learned to give credit to other players. There's a lot of great players out there, and I accept it and then try and learn from it.
Cool. What are the most successful habits that you do on a consistent basis?
I'm pretty good with my lifting regimen. When we're practicing, like doing that, and then always trying to do whatever I do at the highest level. If I'm in the gym, I'm trying to break numbers. If I'm practicing, trying to win any drill. So
Love that. Love that. For you, what is the most important lesson that has helped shape who you are today?
dang. That's a lightning round question, man. That's like
Tough one. It's a tough one.
what has shaped. That's a tough question. There's too many things that, and I need to be shaped way better. Like this is there's like a blob right now. But from a volleyball aspect, and what I've done is hard work. Like I learned that you got to put work in off the sand, more work off the sand than you think you do.
Love that. Hard work. Can you share the biggest challenge you've been through on your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the volleyball journey, that is. Yeah. Biggest challenge is, I tell you, 2013. My wife found out she was pregnant. Matt Ferbringer retired at that time, and Sean Scott retired. So I had to become a blocker and play with John Hyden for a full season, 2013.
I love it.
And it was the worst year I had as a professional, but I learned. I decided, I was like, John, let me play. We're going to be terrible, but I just want to learn from you. And I was going to retire in 2013 because I wasn't providing I was about to have a kid. And I was like, there's no big people out. And I ended up making it back thanks to Theo Brunner. Quit the indoor national team. I was trying to get any big guy from the national team to try beach, and Theo took a chance, and last tournament of the year we won in 2013, and I was able to bounce back and get back on because I fell off the FIVB main draw. I was in country quota, and once you're in that's purgatory. That was the toughest. I was going to quit in 2013, and who knows what happened.
Wow! Shout out Theo Brunner.
Good dude.
Yeah, really, really good dude, and has improved quite a bit quickly. I don't have this written down, but I just want to pick your mind about this because you mentioned it. You said you were about to quit. Yeah. For any athlete that might be going through that, what was something that helped you not?
Well, my wife, she's like, yeah, you're not quitting. But in my mind, I was like, I'm not making any volleyball. You don't make money. Or you don't make a ton of it, especially to support a family.
Right.
So we were having a kid, and in my mind, I knew I wasn't done. Like I knew I had a lot to give, and but I would have done it easily if it wasn't for her. And then it's tough to do because, I've wanted to a handful of times, like I've thought about, all right, let me be done. I'm tired of traveling and whatnot. But, the desire to compete is just, there's nothing better than it for me. There's nothing better. And so, I think like it comes and goes, and just realize that, hey, you're going to be down for a little bit. I've learned to accept it and kind of know deep down inside, like, I want to compete at anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing more beneficial or fun than doing that.
Being a competitor. I love that, man.
Yeah.
That's
That's
great.
why I think coaching is awesome too. So you get to compete that way. You're not actually doing the actual playing, but that's kind of cool. You get to shape these kids and be competitive that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is the biggest challenge you see from your peers, from other athletes out there?
Meaning, just as individuals, or
Yeah. Just as individuals, is it like
to
you,
me, like
well, you mentioned the financial aspect. I mean, I'm sure that's a challenge. I mean,
for sure. Like how, so I'll, as far as my peers and the other volleyball players that play, yeah, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they live in California and try and play volleyball where you're not making a living. You usually have another job,
right.
And they put a lot of time in the gym, practicing, and for not a lot.
Right.
Like, they do it because they love the game and they love competing, and it's unfortunate. It's really sad, and I don't know if it will change. That's a big reason why we moved to Florida.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cost of living's ridiculously cheaper than California, but it's tough to do, to play volleyball and to say you're making a living out of it.
Right.
So
and especially to pursue the Olympics like yourself.
Yeah, you're sacrificing a lot of time and time with family and stuff like that, and that's a lot of Olympic sports. I feel like there's no really monetary gain in it,
Right.
but it's more of a passion, and it's a great achievement to do, but you got to sacrifice a lot.
Right. How important is the idea of having impact to you?
As far as towards the youth and all that, or towards anyone?
Anyone. You're on TV. Like, people are watching you, and people like myself. You're impacting me.
Well, let me apologize. My intentions are. I try to represent myself in a positive way,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as I'm doing that, then I'm okay with it.
Love that.
But I'm not a big social media person. I don't like talking about myself. I'd rather be away from everything, and I'm okay with that. But I definitely want to be a positive impact. Like, I don't want to be seen, and I've done plenty of things on the court, that can be seen not so positive, and I'm not proud of it. But for sure, as long as I carry myself off the court as well, and that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I like that. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received, and why? From who?
That's tough. It's a tough question.
Tough lightning round, huh?
Yeah. Like, what the heck? There's no lightning round. This is just. I don't know how to answer that question.
That's okay.
There's so many people that have kind of given me advice, and I really can't. Again, I'll just have to go with my wife, Brooke.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
she it's not so much anything she said, it's more how she lives. And
Cool.
I just see what she does, so she's doing it by example, even though she's not saying anything directly to me. So I use her as a inspiration because when she plays, she was one of the hardest workers I've ever seen, and when she coaches, same deal. And she does it with a smile and positive energy, and I'm like, what the heck? This can't be real. You can't do this all the time. And she does it.
That's
So
cool.
that's what I'd have to say.
That's awesome. Shout out to Brooke, your
Yeah,
wife.
I mean that's lame, but it's the truth.
No, that's really cool. That's awesome. All right. Well, you might not like me for this question because it's another deep one, but we'll give it a shot. What is your ultimate why?
Why, as far as I'm trying to figure that out, man. Are you kidding me?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Figure out why. Why am I here? Like, what the heck? I mean, I grew up in church, and that question has been the biggest. I think I don't know why.
I think, sorry to jump in, I think you kind of already answered it a little bit in saying that because I'm a competitor, that's why you do what you do, right?
Oh, as far as competing and playing, yeah, for sure.
And you could take it. You could take that philosophically if you want.
I don't know. You're like, why? Why here? I don't know, man. Tell me. But as far as why is volleyball and yeah, I mean, I love competing in it, but it's all by accident. I grew up playing volleyball. I didn't expect to play volleyball, but why is it? Because I don't want to do anything else. Like so maybe that.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. All right, Nick, couple more here. Looking back on your journey, is there anything you wish you could change and why?
Yeah. I think it helped me get to where I am now, but I made a pretty big mistake playing. I played with Sean Scott, 2008, and he was kind of over playing overseas, and Brad Keenan was an up and comer and wanted to play overseas, and him and John had a great 2 years, and I gave Sean Scott the old boot and picked up Brad Keenan, and I regret it. I mean, Brad, good guy, great guy. And Sean Scott is one of the best players, blockers of all time, and him and John had a great career. I think they were one of the best teams to play. That's my biggest regret. And Sean still doesn't let me live it down. But I wouldn't have been able. I would have never played with FIVB 2 years later, and playing overseas was something I wanted to do. But I mean, that's tough to let down. Sean Scott's just the man.
Yeah, he is
one of the best blockers of all time.
Shout out Sean Scott.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, cool. All right. So I don't know if you have the pyramids in front of you, but this question is about the pyramids. I have them here. I don't know if you can see them through the screen.
I don't have in front of me. Okay.
This is I don't know if the glare will work, but This is John Wooden's, and it says competitive greatness at the top. And, my question for you is, looking at these pyramids, what do you think is missing, if anything, and what speaks loudly to you?
Dang, I got to pull that up in my.
That's okay.
My phone.
No, that's okay.
Because you sent it.
Yeah, I sent it by email. And basically, while you're looking, I'll give you a quick little rundown of these pyramids. For all athletes, I think we need a compass. We need to know where we're going. And for John Wooden, when he made that pyramid, that really worked for him. He had a bunch of success from these pyramids. So for me, I look at these pyramids and I try to take something from them, and I try to figure out what I should add. So I don't know if that resonates with you or makes sense, but
yeah, no, for sure. It dang, a lot of. It's my first time ever looking at this.
Okay. Okay.
Was I supposed to look at it before? Because if so, I was a terrible student.
It's okay. It's okay.
Uh,
And real quick, while you're looking at it, so like this was
I mean,
painted on the wall at UCLA, so it really got in my head when we were going there, and it's kind of the part of the culture at UCLA. It's the pyramid of success.
yeah,
So you know, whether whether it resonates or not, or some things pop out at you or not, it has definitely worked in terms of the culture of winning
for
at
sure.
UCLA.
I mean, there's the whole bottom, family, love, and friendship and faith are huge. I mean, that's just how I try and.
Oh, you're looking at the inspired living? Are you looking at that one?
Oh yeah, that's yours.
So yeah, so that's the one I was inspired
That's the one
to.
you told me to look at, right?
Well, that's fine. So I was looking at both of them, but yeah, let's look at that one. So basically, I was inspired to create this one by looking at this pyramid of success all the time.
Got you.
And the main difference is the top, because competitive greatness is on John Wooden's, but
Oh, that's what he has on his.
yeah, but I put inspired living on the top of this one because I think, to me, that's my goal. I would like to be in that kind of place at all times.
Coming back, and my kid. You want to come say hi? Come say hi to Mr. Aaron.
Hey, buddy.
I didn't know
Hi.
you came back so early. This is Cole.
Hey, Cole.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Give me a minute. You want to go say hi to mommy? Yes.
2
Yes.
minutes? He's awesome.
That's weird. It just cut off.
No worries.
Perfect answer. So I don't. Hold on. Let me let him out.
Yeah, no problem. That was funny. So you were right in the middle of saying, like, yeah, for sure.
I was saying, but
We're talking about a compass of like a direction of where to go in, and I was mentioning about inspired living.
yes, and I was. I mean, your whole life, that'd be awesome if you could just be inspired in everything.
Yeah.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. No, sir. No, sir. You got to go inside, man. You give me 2 minutes. Get this kid inside.
Yeah, no problem at all. Go for it.
It take me less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll go outside with you after. Come on. Hi, Grammy. I'm almost done. I was given the best answer ever. Grammy, you all right? All right, I'm going to start cooking, and I'll start cooking soon. Sorry, buddy.
Multitasking. You're doing great.
I got to make Taco Tuesdays. Learned of a watermelon margarita I want to make. So, but I try to, I mean, it's hard to be inspired, but be something if you were, or if you found something that got you going all the time.
And just to finish this up, because we're pretty much done, but like,
right.
Would you recommend, okay, so I recommend that all athletes make something like this. It doesn't have to be a pyramid of inspired living. It doesn't have to be the pyramid of success, but that I think that we all as athletes need to know where we're trying to get to. Winning is definitely a part of that. But would you recommend also to another athlete that they should make something like this for themselves, where it's like a compass of like a direction that they're trying to go in?
For sure. I mean, it makes sense because it's like the compass is perfect. It's if you feel lost or you're off the track or whatnot, you kind of have a reminder, be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm playing for. This is how I get to where I want to go.
Right.
It's something I never did.
Do you have that now moving into the Olympics? Like I would assume that maybe the top of your pyramid, if you had a pyramid, would be, winning the Olympics, let's say, or make it, I think, I mean, aren't you like,
for sure. I don't have a top. Obviously that'd be a great achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because it's not impossible, but it's just so hard to attain and so far away that I'd rather more focus on what am I going to get done today.
Oh, I like that, Nick. I really like that.
I lifted today. I got it done. I got I didn't do my condition, which is terrible. But it's like, well, because the further I think or the farther ahead I think, more stressful it is because it's more stuff I can't control, and
Interesting.
um, and then I can lose focus on what I'm really trying to accomplish. So maybe, yeah, I don't know.
No, that's good. That's really good. Just stay focused on today and the tasks that you have today.
Yeah,
Keeps you in
that's
the moment too.
easier. Yeah, that's what everyone says. Just be in the moment. Blah blah blah. Hard to do because
Right.
for sure my brain can go down that track to where with this whole coronavirus, you're like, dude, are we really going to be like this for another year? I can't. I'm just trying to get through um, the day,
Right.
but there is a pyramid, and then you do have some fundamental blocks that I think is just natural. But if you can write it down, and I'm a visual learner, so maybe that's something I should have done. But maybe it's something I've just kind of grabbed over the years. Like family, for sure, is one, and then
Mm-hmm.
work
Mm-hmm.
ethic. That's a huge, huge one for me,
Cool.
and whatnot. And ultimate, what the top is, I don't know. I don't know what my top is, but
Okay.
inspired living, that should be everyone's freaking goal.
That's cool. That's cool to hear from you because that makes me feel good because I agree. I think that should be everyone's goal, and like winning should just be a byproduct of that.
Yeah, for sure. It's impossible to. You're not gonna win if you're living inspired. Then you're winning at everything. Doesn't matter
Right.
what it is. So
That's right.
you know,
Very
be
cool.
awesome. Maybe I need to start figuring out how to get there.
Yeah, man, me too. All of us, I hear that. That's awesome. All right, Nick, last question for you. I'm gonna let you go be with your family. As
All the time for the last 2 months, throughout the day. And I just we got Taco Tuesdays.
taco time. But before taco time, just talk to me about being an Olympian. You're one of the few athletes, really, especially being an undersized volleyball player that has Olympic experience and is getting ready for another Olympics. Talk to me about fulfillment and specifically as being an Olympian. What does fulfillment mean to you?
Um, it's definitely. I think maybe when my career is all done and I kind of look back, I'll be like, that's freaking awesome. And it is awesome to be an Olympian, and I'm grateful and like humble about it.
Cool.
And but it's like, you just there's so many people. I think in the volleyball world that, for instance, 2012, I thought FIVB and I had a chance to make the Olympics, and we had this Olympic run with Sean and Jake, and we didn't make it. Came down to the last tournament, and the difference between two finishes. And so we didn't make it, but does that disqualify FIVB from what he put into it? And, I think of falling short from making the Olympics. I think of that more than actually when I qualified, when I think about it. And it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question. And another thing with the Olympics is it's awesome. Are you kidding me? You're with all these ridiculous athletes. You're representing your country.
Right.
It's amazing. But it's for volleyball, it's just another volleyball tournament. Like we play the same guys 2 weeks after, 2 weeks before, and the same team. And so they put a lot of pressure on winning this tournament, and it's hard to do. Kind of everything just has to line up your way.
Right. Right.
Like I'm grateful to have done it. Doesn't make me any, better or worse than any other than a player. I mean, that's just my thoughts. I don't know if it makes sense.
It definitely makes sense, Nick. Just a real quick visual for you, like the whole idea of the tools within what this project is about. If you can kind of imagine Batman,
Yeah.
right? And you see Batman with his tool belt, right?
Sure.
So like gratitude would be like one of the number one tools that I'm trying to teach, the kids in our club, but really the kids, youth athletes anywhere, not just volleyball players, but just the youth athlete, to reach down in that tool belt and grab that tool of gratitude. That's like the very number one tool that I teach. Would you agree with that?
Dude, there's nothing, and you don't see it a lot in kids today.
Right.
See, when I was a kid, I probably wasn't as grateful as I am now too. So I'm not saying it's different, but it's the number one thing. You got to be grateful, for sure. And it's something, it's hard to do, because you can get into this me first and why isn't things happening the way I want, and you kind of lose perspective.
Right.
What you're actually doing, and the things you get to learn. And some people don't appreciate that. But for sure, tool, gratitude, it's on my belt.
Right there. Right there. Tool number one. Yeah. Well, Nick, I'm extremely grateful for the time that we shared today. That was awesome. I had a lot of fun talking with you.
I don't even know what the heck I said over the last hour, 20 minutes.
Well, I recorded it, so I'll shoot it to you, and you can review it. But
I'm sure it'll be sweet.
Yeah, but you crushed it. I really appreciate your time, and best of luck with moving forward in the Olympics and the Olympic run and all that kind of stuff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, good luck with doing this. This is awesome.
Cool, awesome, man.
Good time to make it happen.
Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you being a part of it.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, you too.
Later.
Bye. This episode is brought to you by DAF Global. If you're looking to start a podcast, or you have a podcast and you're looking for editing services, hit up my guys Oliver and Garrett at DAF Global. They're awesome. They help me with this podcast, and they take care of all kinds of different services like editing and audio enhancement, and they're great to work with. They're also offering a 10% discount to all Within the Game listeners. So hit my guys up at DAF Global on Instagram, and also on their website, www.dafglobal.co.uk.